It's another Q&A edition of Optimal Health Daily, episode 1505, and I'm Dr. Neil, your host of the show. Hey there, welcome back to another special Friday edition of Optimal Health Daily, where I answer your questions. On the other days, I read health and fitness blogs to you like an ongoing audiobook. Now, if you want to know more about me and my credentials, definitely check out last week's Q&A episode. That's where I went into more details about all of that. But I'm going to spare you from that long intro, and I'm going to get right to today's audio question so we can start optimizing your life.
Hi, Dr. Neil. My name's Holland, and I'm from North Carolina. I just want to say I love your show. I do have a quick question. I lost 130 pounds, and I've got some loose skin. It's not terrible, but it's more than I would like. Is there anything besides plastic surgery that I could do to possibly tighten up this skin? I am doing toning exercises that's helped as well, strength training and yoga. But anything that you might could suggest would be awesome. Thanks.
Thank you so much for your question, Holland, and thank you for your kind words. I'm so glad you enjoy the show. First, congratulations on your weight loss efforts. That is no easy feat, and you deserve a lot of credit for this. So I hope you've taken a moment to give yourself a pat on the back. Now, as you mentioned, a side effect of weight loss can be having loose skin. This is very, very normal. Now, there are fixes for this, but unfortunately, most of them have to be performed surgically. Now, first, let me explain why this whole idea of loose skin happens. As we age, it's very natural to simply just lose the elasticity of our skin. This is because the skin's elasticity is in part based on different types of proteins that are found within the skin. Collagen and elastin are just a couple of the proteins found in the skin, and they help keep it elastic. And as we get older, these fibers, these proteins tend to break down, which leads to the loss of elasticity. It's kind of like a rubber band. The more it's used and the older it gets, the less elasticity it will have. Now, when it comes to weight loss and loose skin, we often see it happening when large amounts of weight are lost in a relatively short period of time. And that seems to be the case for you, Holland. We also see the same thing happening when there's too much sun exposure, but that's a different topic altogether. I won't go into that now. Weight loss that's a bit more gradual allows the skin to shrink back down as the weight is lost. With rapid weight loss, the skin may not have as much time to catch up. Also, the longer the weight was kept on the body before the weight loss, the more likely the person will experience loose skin. I'll use a different analogy here. Imagine a typical rubber balloon like the ones we use for birthdays, for example. Have you ever added air to a brand new balloon but quickly let the air back out? You notice how the elasticity of the balloon hasn't really changed all that much. It feels like it's still brand new. But what happens to that same balloon's elasticity after the balloon has been inflated and stays inflated for days? When you let the air out, the balloon has pretty much lost all of its elasticity. Well, our skin behaves the same way. Since elasticity is dependent on proteins like collagen and elastin, getting enough protein in the diet is important. But in the Western world, like in the United States, getting enough protein in our diets is usually not a problem. Most health professionals agree that supplements, skin creams, and even exercise sadly will not make a difference. Here's why. When it comes to supplements, like collagen supplements, it seems that supplementing with collagen doesn't seem to actually increase collagen levels in the skin where it's needed. So even though we may be supplementing with collagen, the body doesn't necessarily send that collagen to the skin. When it comes to skin creams, it turns out the ingredients in these creams are often too large to actually be absorbed by the skin. Now, Holland, you mentioned that you're exercising regularly and incorporating strength training and yoga, all of which are fantastic habits. But sadly, even strength training may not make a significant difference in tightening up loose skin. So where does that leave us? Well, it turns out the most effective way to remove excess skin is through cosmetic surgery. There are many surgical options for removing loose skin, that's the good news, but some are more complicated than others. So it is best to discuss options with a medical doctor that specializes in these types of procedures. A great place to start is to talk to your primary care doctor, who can then refer you to a specialist. Usually, they'll refer you to either a dermatologist, who's a medical doctor that specializes in treating the skin, or a plastic surgeon. And again, I know this is not the best news, but all is not lost. The good news is there are options available. And again, you deserve so much credit for reaching your weight loss goals. Thank you again so much for taking the time to send in your question, Holland. Remember, if you want to send in a question, you can email it to health@oldpodcast.com. Or you can call in your question. The number is 61 I love OHD. Or you can submit your audio question at oldpodcast.com/ask. All right, that's another Q&A edition of Optimal Health Daily. Thank you so much for listening every day. Thank you for sharing this show with someone, and I'll see you back here over the weekend where your optimal life awaits.